In this video I'm going to show you how to do the starting point when knitting a triangular shawl, and it's the technique that is used in many different designs. This one here is the beautiful design by Isabell Kraemer, a girl's best friend triangular shawl, and it begins with this little section right here on the straight top edge, and this is called the Garter Tab Cast on, and it begins here, and then once the pattern is set you will continue by always having this one single stitch coming all the way down the middle, that's the spine, and then on either side you're going to work a series of increases, and these increases get bigger and bigger for these triangular sections so that the whole pattern then works into a large triangular shawl. But the beginning stage is this very simple technique here where we're going to start with our garter tap cast on, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's the beginning of the shawl, and I've worked the first series of 14 rows as well as the cast on just to show you how the pattern is going to be set. But because this is very fine yarn, I'm actually going to demonstrate the beginning on a slightly thicker yarn just so it's easier for you to be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to begin at the beginning of the pattern where it tells me using a main colour and using the long tail cast on technique, I'm going to cast on 3 stitches. So the first thing to do is get my yarn into a long tail cast on position. So I've got the short tail. I don't need a very long tail to begin this because I'm only going to cast on 3 stitches. So I'm going to hold that in front and then the main ball yarn at the back, and I'm just going to get that into the position for doing a long tail cast on. Then with my needle I'm going to begin by actually not doing a slip knot because I don't want a knot at the beginning of the project. I'm literally going to just take my needle, place it on top of that yarn at the top of my fingers and just turn it over, and that is actually going to be my first cast on stitch. I'll do that once more. So I've got my hand position ready to do long tail cast on, and with my needle just lay it on the top, turn it over, and I have my first stitch in place. Now because I only need to cast on 3, I've got 1 already done. I'm going to do 2 and then 3. So that's my first 3 stitches already cast on with my tail down here and my working ball yarn connected here. So now what I need to do is look at the pattern. The first thing on it tells me is to knit. So I'm just going to knit the first row. 1, 2, 3, and then the pattern tells me to knit a further 6 rows. So altogether I'm doing 7 rows in total. So, and this is doing garter stitch, so I'm just knitting every row. So I just turn and I'm doing a further 6 rows. So 1, 10, 2, 3. What I'm wanting to do is get a series of garter stitch ridges, which you'll see when I've done the full number. So this is now 4, 2 more, 5, and my final one will be 6. And on the end of this row I'm not going to turn. The pattern actually says work 6 rows in garter stitch, and after the last row do not turn. So I'm just going to stop at that point. My working ball is now sitting over here on the left, and you can see now what I've created are those 3 garter stitch ridges, which is what I now need to use for casting on the next series of stitches. So at this stage I haven't turned the work, but now what I want to do is rotate the whole piece 90 degrees round, and I'm now going to cast on along this edge 3 stitches. And the easiest way to do this is actually to place my needle under the ridges of each of those garter stitches. So I'm going under the first one, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to knit those now with my working ball, knit those onto my right hand needle. So that's 1, 2, 3. So I now have got 6 stitches on my needle, and then I now need to rotate my work again, and this time I now need to pick up and knit 3 stitches along the cast on edge. And it's a little bit tricky to see exactly where to pick these up. The main thing is we need to have 1 in the corner, and then 1 in the middle, and 1 on the edge here. And it's not quite as clear as with the other side where we had the garter stitch ridges. This time you just want to place your needle in a good position evenly across the bottom edge, and it's not that essential as long as you pick up the right number of stitches. So here's my first one, so I'm just going to pick up 1 here and knit using my, not the tail, I need to make sure I'm using the right yarn. That's 1. Then again, I'm just pulling the little tail just to pull out the edge. I'm going to find another one. I'm going to use this loop here. That's my second one. And then 1 more right in the corner, just placing my needle. I'm just picking them up 1 at a time. So this is the 3rd one. Oh, I just split the yarn a bit there. There we go. And then 3. And now you will count along. You now should have 9 stitches on your needle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. If I just pull that along to the wire, what we will then find, ready to begin the project, is we will have 3 stitches on the right, which is going to be our garter stitch border. Then we're going to have 3 stitches in the middle, which is going to be, the central one is going to be that central spine stitch, and then these stitches on either side of that stitch will be the stitches we involved with the yarn over increases. And then there's on the left side, we're going to then have 3 more stitches to be the other corresponding garter stitch border. So that's the beginning of the project set up, and we're now ready to go to the pattern. So I've now cast on the 9 stitches and I'm ready to place the markers and start setting up the pattern. Just a little tip, this tail that we had at the beginning, which we made the stitches out of, I've just put a little knot into, and it's just to remind me that it's sitting on the wrong side of the work. So when I see this facing me, it means I'm working on the wrong side, and when it's on the other side, it means that this is the right side facing me. So I'm about to do the row which now says next row wrong side, and it begins with knit 3, and then I'm going to place my first marker, and this is my first set of 3 which is going to make up the garter stitch panel, which is going to work on the corners of both sides of my triangle shawl. So placing my first marker, then I need to purl 1. So the yarn is sitting at the back and I need to bring it forward to purl. So I'm just going to purl 1. I'm now going to place another marker, and this time I'm going to place a green one, and I'm going to put 2 green markers in place to indicate the center stitches. So this is my first green. Then I'm going to purl 1, which is the center stitch. Place my next green marker, purl 1, and then place my 4th marker, which is going to indicate the beginning of the last 3 stitches for the other side of the garter stitch edging. Place that, and now take the yarn to the back and knit 3. So I now have my 4 markers in place. At the moment they're looking very close, but obviously as the triangle increases and I start now adding my yarn over increase stitches, these will start spacing out. So I'm now ready to begin the actual pattern, row 1, and this is my increase row, and I'm on the right side. My little thread is at the back, and this will involve a lot of yarn overs. In total I've got to put 4 in, and because we've only got 9 stitches, it's quite a complicated little row this, so we just have to take it quite steadily. And I'll have, from 9 stitches, I will increase 4 stitches in total and have 13 by the end. So let's begin with knit 3. So that's my garter stitch edging, 3 stitches, then slip the marker. So I just take it from the left needle over to the right needle. And now I need to do a yarn on or yarn over. Now to do this, all I need to do is bring the yarn, which is sitting at the moment at the back, to the front. So I'm bringing it to the front. Now the next time I work this stitch to knit, it'll now go over the needle, and that will create the yarn over. So I've got it sitting now at the front, and it's now telling me to knit to M, which means knit to the marker. Well, at the moment I've only got 1 stitch to knit, so that's fine, but I need to now do that. So as I knit it, this yarn which is sitting in front will now go over the needle and create the yarn over. So I've knitted to the marker, and before I slip the stitch, I now need to do another yarn over. So bring the yarn again from the back through between the stitches, between the needles to the front, and now I'm ready to slip the marker, and then the pattern tells me now to knit 1, and as I knit 1, at the same time as knitting the next stitch, I'll be also creating that yarn over before the marker. So that's that yarn over there, and then I've got my middle stitch which is in the middle here, and I've knitted that one, and now I can slip the next stitch, next marker, slip that across. Now I need to yarn over, so bring the yarn to the front, knit the next stitch. I've now reached the marker, so I can do another yarn over, bring it forward, slip the next stitch, marker, then knit 1, 2, 3. So quite a lot happened in just that one row with all those yarn overs, and the most important thing is now just checking we've got the correct number of stitches. Having gone from 9, I should now have 13. So I have 3 at the end, 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, middle one, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 3 at the end, 11, 12, 13. So I've got my 13 stitches in place. So quite a lot happened there with all those yarn overs. And now I need to work on row 2, which is a wrong side, and I just need to work across those yarn over stitches. So I'm just turning it round. This is row 2 of the pattern, and it's wrong side, and I can check that because I've got my little thread knotted here. And I'm now going to knit 3, which is my edging garter stitches, then slip the marker from the left to the right. Then I just need to purl to the last marker. So from now on I need to just purl all the way across. So bring the yarn to the front and purl all of these stitches. So I'm just going right across those yarn over stitches. They look quite loopy, but that's fine, they're meant to be. It's creating that lacy effect. Keep going all the way across, slip the marker all the way across, keep going, purl. I'm going all the way to the final marker. There we go, there's my final marker. Slip that marker, and now take the yarn to the back and knit the final 3 stitches. So that's my first 2 rows completed. I can quickly just check I've got the right number of stitches, make sure I haven't done any extra increases. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, which is correct. If I turn it around, we can see already the pattern is beginning to start. So we've got the 3 garter stitches here and here, We've got our central spine stitch in the middle between the two green markers, and here is where the increase stitches are beginning to happen.